So you have an error on your credit report and you want to sue the credit bureaus. Welcome to our new series on how you can sue the credit bureaus. This is consumer protection attorney Bill Clanton. I've helped thousands of consumers deal with credit reporting errors, background check errors, debt collection harassment, and all sorts of other consumer-related matters. This is the first in our series on how you can sue the credit bureaus. Now, this is step 0. We call this step 0. It's how to avoid arbitration. Why do you want to avoid arbitration? Okay, well, what is arbitration? Arbitration is a closed, private resolution of your case. It does not go to court. It gets handled privately, usually a retired lawyer's office. What happens is that lawyer gets to decide the number of discovery requests, the number of depositions, how the case is going to proceed. I've had arbitrators say that we can only ask 5 questions in discovery and take 0 depositions. You're not going to get very far in your case with 5 written questions and not being able to question any witnesses. There are 2 major providers of arbitration services in the United States, the AAA and JAMS. The AAA, you can go to adr.org and look at the consumer arbitration rules there. There's a $200 filing fee. After that, the defendant, the other side, pays the arbitration costs. Most of the arbitrators the AAA uses are retired lawyers. These arbitrators are not accountable to the public. Whatever happens is private. They don't have to be reelected. They don't have to be subject to any kind of review by anybody. They can make any kind of decision they want, and there's no appeal, there's no review, there's nothing. Now, who hires the most arbitrators? Well, have you ever hired an arbitrator before? Probably not. Have Experian, TransUnion, Equifax hired arbitrators before? Many, many times. So a smart arbitrator is going to know that if they rule for their regular client will keep coming back to them. They'll never see the consumer again. They'll never see you again. So there's an inherent unfairness to arbitration. And it's been my experience that arbitration significantly reduces the value of the case. Now, the credit bureaus have plenty of money to pay to resolve cases, but they want to spend as little of it as they can in each case. One way they can minimize that is by arbitration. They put arbitration agreements into anywhere they can put them. They want you to go to arbitration. They do not want cases filed in public courts. They do not want decisions about their cases to be public. TransUnion has public filings where they say that they have a budget of $75 to $85 million to pay to settle cases. That's not to pay their lawyers, that's to pay you to settle cases. And they can minimize the spend of that money by sending you to arbitration. They hire smart lawyers who work hard to defend these cases. They can try out all kinds of theories. They can try out all kinds of cases because they have law firms that cover sometimes half the United States, sometimes the whole United States. So these law firms build up a great deal of knowledge about cases and theories and lawyers and judges, and they can work their cases very aggressively to minimize the value, minimize what their client has to pay. So arbitration is their number 1 tool for doing this. So let's take a look at some of these arbitration clauses and then talk about how to avoid arbitration entirely. Arbitration clauses are in all the credit monitoring agreements and many of the agreements when you access your credit reports through the bureaus themselves. We'll talk about how to get your credit report without agreeing to arbitration in just a minute. Okay, here we are on the Experian website. This is their free credit monitoring program. And let's get started monitoring your credit, and let's look at the terms of use agreement. Okay, here are the terms of use, revised August 14th, 2023. And this includes, and this is one of the really creepy things, is that you could agree to some credit monitoring service, but it could be an affiliated website of one of the credit bureaus. And so when you sign up with Experian, you're signing up for freecreditreport.com, freecreditscore.com, creditreport.com, creditchecktotal.com, creditscore.com, etc. So the services and websites are all subject to all terms and conditions contained herein. There's plenty of terms here, but here's the one we're looking for. Dispute resolution by binding arbitration. This means you and Experian have the same meanings defined above. Agreement to arbitrate is broadly interpreted to make all disputes and claims between us Any service or website, including information obtained through service websites, subject to arbitration to the fullest extent permitted by law. Well, the information you got from their website is your credit report. If there's an error on it and you sue them, and you sign this agreement, then you're going to arbitration. Now, some of these entities have an opt-out provision. I don't see one here. Let's take a look at Equifax. So there are separate terms for My Equifax, which we'll look at in just a second. But Equifax, if you sign up for any Equifax product, you're going to, guess what? Binding arbitration. Now, they do have an opt-out. You have the right to opt out. Within 30 days, you must notify Equifax in writing within 30 days of the date you first accept this agreement on the site that you opt out. And you have to send a letter to Equifax Consumer Services LLC, attention, arbitration opt-out, Atlanta, Georgia. You must include your name, address, and Equifax user ID, as well as a clear statement you do not wish to resolve disputes with Equifax through arbitration. So if you send this letter in, they're going to make sure it's addressed to this, exactly with these words. They're going to look at it very closely. And the 30 days is going to be tough to measure because they're going to say you agreed to it in some prior iteration. The best policy is to not sign up for Equifax. Now, looking at My Equifax, this is their free access to your credit report. Arbitration does not appear, the term arbitration does not appear in here. It might tomorrow. This is amended June 5th, but it could be November 1, 2023, they add it. It's best to be very cautious about this, but currently My Equifax does not have a arbitration provision. This is the free service Equifax provides. TransUnion. This is a TransUnion interactive website, and it also has an arbitration provision. TransUnion has it. So we've got Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, all who have arbitration provisions. Now, this guy, the credit team, he has 706 videos, all on credit repair. I haven't watched all of them, but they all appear to be on credit repair. He suggests grabbing your credit report here, bit.ly credit monitoring, okay? So if we go to this website, it's Identity IQ. Okay, so let's see here. We are going to the Terms of Service Agreement, and it opens a new window. Let me pull that up. This is the Ident IQ. Now, Identity IQ, if you sign up for that, you're also signing terms with MyScore IQ, Credit and Debt, Resident Link, and countrywide prepaid legal services. Now, they've got a lot of terms here, but you guessed it, we're going to find dispute resolution and arbitration. And arbitration are governed by the Federal Arbitration Act. So you're going to arbitration if you sign up for that credit monitoring service. All right, here's another Identity Guard. This is from a top 10 list of Identity Guard or identity theft protection websites. Guess what? Identity Guard is going to take you to arbitration under the AAA rules. Identity Guard, Aura Identity Guard. Who is Identity Guard? Aura Identity Guard means Aura Sub. At least one of these, maybe it's not Identity Guard, is owned by one of the credit bureaus. So if you sign up with one of these identity theft protection websites, you're going to go to arbitration when you sue the credit bureau that owns it. So identity theft websites almost all have arbitration in them. So where can you go? Annualcreditreport.com. There is not an arbitration provision. Policies, as is. Browser compatibility. About this site, there is absolutely no arbitration provision on this website. We can test that. Go here. Okay, so I don't see an arbitration provision here. Filing a dispute, the search engine says there's arbitration here, but I don't find it when I search for it. Yep, there is no, the term arbitration does not appear on the annualcreditreport.com website currently. It's safe to get your report from annualcreditreport.com. Like I said, you can get your report once a week for free from annualcreditreport.com until the end of 2023. After that, we do not know when this will stop, but you should check your credit report at annualcreditreport.com to avoid arbitration. All right, I hope this video has been helpful. If you are tangled up in an arbitration clause currently, then cancel that agreement. Sign it electronically, cancel that agreement. If you can't figure out a way to cancel it, change the credit card it bills to so that they cannot run a charge and they will cancel it. If you have an error on your credit report and you want to see it's affecting you negatively, causing you to be turned down for credit or losing other opportunities, you could have a very valuable case. But if there's an arbitration clause, it's going to take your case out of the court system, then that will impact significantly the value of your case. So before you get started disputing errors and getting deep into the process of trying to correct the error on your credit report, it's important to make sure there's not an arbitration clause that will hamstring your efforts. Thanks for watching this video. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. I'm glad to be back on YouTube. Looking forward to hearing from you. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.